Wow. I can't believe you clicked on this video, idiot. Skill issue. What are you, 5? I bet your political takes are dumb too. Touch grass, bro. I'm more handsomer, funner, and smelling better than you will ever have, and you can die mad about it. Huh. Sorry. If you've been on the internet in the last, ever, you may have noticed there's a lot of suck. And I'm not talking about the good kind either. This is the suck that makes you feel bad, suck that makes you feel sad, and of course, suck that makes you feel mad. This suck is created and propagated by people looking for validation, self-aggrandizement, power, or to satiate some kind of fetish. The concept of trolling is nothing new. Before the internet, you had people like Tom Green. Before him, you had Andy Kaufman. And before him, you had Diogenes of Sinope. Trolls have always existed. But Andy Kaufman put immense amount of effort into his art. Diogenes was clever about it, and Tom Green was actually funny. He was a total dick, though. Even if these guys were acting like turbo douches, people knew who they were. They still had to face consequences for their actions. Whereas now people can be dicks online and retain complete anonymity, hardly have to put in any effort, and worst of all, they can be monetarily compensated for it. And the way they make money is through rage bait. Rage bait is a technique of farming views and engagement by creating content that really ticks people off. This can be done in a wide range of ways. You could be the most loathsome piece of filth in the known universe, or you could just make pizza wrong and people lose their fucking minds. It's insanely easy to make people angry these days. Social media companies utilize rage bait to an irresponsible degree in their algorithms to drive user engagement, so advertisers pay more money for the ad space they use to post their garbage mobile game that totally exists. Dickhead live streamers and content creators are then encouraged to make slop that is just meant to infuriate people because it's the easiest way to make money. This is why everyone is so damn angry on the internet. The news has been aware of this concept for over a century. Negative news stories have always gotten better ratings than the cute, cuddly, positive ones. This is partly caused by something called negativity bias, which encompasses all negative emotions. However, the news has recently started focusing on anger the most. I believe this is actually worse than social media in 2 ways. 1, these are professional news organizations with high-grade equipment and people in suits and shit, which means the average person is more likely to trust this outlet for correct information, making them an easier target. And 2, the anger these networks is sowing is directed away from the network itself, whereas a singular creator being a dick is directing the hate towards themselves. This directed rage can then be pointed towards rivals in politics or even entire demographics. I find the combination of these 2 things much more troubling than some random mouth breather being an asshole to people on the street. That was a bit of a tangent from what I wanted to discuss, but it's a very common and potentially dangerous example of rage bait that many people may not realize. So why do these companies abuse our mental health? Why peeve us off so dang much instead of make happy? Well, like I mentioned before, they know it works. And it works very well. Yeah, no shit. The real question is, why does it work? That is what we should really be asking ourselves. Why is it that we continue to fall for such an obvious play? It's because we want to get angry. That may sound like complete lunacy because anger is seen as a negative, destructive emotion, but it's certainly cathartic. As Dr. Leon F. Seltzer puts it, anger can be understood as a reaction to what feels threatening or unfair to you. In such instances, you feel unjustifiably attacked, taken advantage of, betrayed, violated, or powerless. In a sense, you victimize yourself. Victims are innocent. They are in the right. Becoming a victim means someone else is mistreating you. This makes people feel vindicated in their stance or position. They feel like they've clawed back some power or that they're the bigger person even though the opposite is more likely true. An angry outburst, in a way, is a form of instant gratification used as a defense mechanism. This isn't to say every time a person gets angry that they are in the wrong. There are plenty of issues that justify anger. It's just a dipshit spouting slurs on Twitter is not worth your time or energy. If you want to read more about the psychology of anger, check out this article. It pretty much says everything that I just did, but better. Now let's get into the chemistry. You've likely heard of the fight or flight response in your middle school health class. Anger is a very similar bodily reaction. Both involve the key chemicals epinephrine and norepinephrine. These chemicals are responsible for that adrenaline rush you feel when your asshole friend Dave sneaks up behind you and grabs your love handles out of nowhere, making you jolt and nearly piss yourself in front of Claire.
God, she's so cool.
Or when you stub your toe or whatever. Epinephrine is even commonly referred to as adrenaline. When you're angry, your brain secretes these two chemicals, causing that rush, heightening your senses, increasing your heart rate, and dulling pain, similar to drugs like cocaine. In fact, ADHD medications like Adderall and Dexedrine stimulate the production of norepinephrine in the brain. These drugs are amphetamines, like methamphetamine. Anger is a drug. This is the physiological reason why people can't help but make themselves angry. They're addicted, and don't even realize it. It's a clean way of getting a rush, but just as toxic. Now you may be thinking, now wait just a dang minute. I don't feel adrenaline when I'm ticked off. You're lying to me. That's because there are different kinds of anger. The compounding stress of life's little annoyances and inconveniences can lead to an outburst that appears to be one of fury, but is really a release of anxiety. On the outside, it can look a hell of a lot like rage, and you may even convince yourself that it is. But it is very different. I call this anxious feeling cold anger, because it lacks that adrenal sensation that causes your body temperature to rise. It may not even technically be anger. This is the sensation, or lack thereof, that I feel most of the time when I crash out on stream because I suffer from chronic anxiety and subject myself to things like Sonic 06.
Oh my God!
The kind of anger that makes your blood boil, I obviously call hot anger. This feeling is what I believe is true anger. Simple, raw rage. I love this feeling. It's exciting, it's kind of fun. I definitely see why people would want to feel this way. But that also may be because I rarely experience it myself anymore. Because I'm dead inside. With how much more anxiety is taking over modern society, it's very possible that many people engaging in rage bait are doing so just to release anxiety. But I feel it is far more likely people are looking for validation or trying to get their adrena fix. And I'll admit it, I click on rage bait too. But I do so because I find very obvious rage bait funny. I never engage, but looking at it from a self-aware perspective, I find the idea of some guy putting in effort just to make people hate him comical. And the idea of people actively wasting their time trying to argue with or correct this person who clearly doesn't give a shit is also funny. However, this pattern is leading us into an increasingly negative media landscape that is putting everyone on edge and is helping spread mis and disinformation. It's leading us down a dark path. In essence, the concept of rage bait is designed to prey upon basic human instincts. And it works. And I don't really know if there's anything we can do to make it stop. People are always going to want to get angry. So the only way companies will stop encouraging the creation of rage bait is if the general population wises up or gets some psychiatric help. Neither of which I see happening. All we can really do is not click on stuff that pisses us off. Thanks for watching. Sorry this isn't real rage bait. Peace.